Well, we continue keeping you company this Ramadan as we have been keeping you company throughout the entire month of Ramadan. And can you believe it? Day 26 already of the day of Ramadan, of the month of Ramadan. And it's just the other day where we actually kicked off with our programming, the sighting of the moon, and we just began. And before we know what's happening, the time has actually just flown. But we continue with whatever is left, the few days that are left in the month of Ramadan. We continue observing this month of Ramadan with total humility, with sincerity, with honesty, with the highest level of spirituality, and take maximum benefit out of this month of Ramadan right till the very end and until the point in time when the moon for Eid and the moon for Shawwal will be sighted. So let us continue. We've got possibly about 3 days left of this month of Ramadan, and let us continue enjoying the blessings of this beautiful month of Ramadan. Let's look at what we're going to be talking about. And as mentioned earlier on, we're talking about the detention of South Sudan's Vice President Riek Machar. And this obviously has sparked some crisis. And we're going straight across to be joined by the research associate at the Institute for Pan African Thought and Conversation at the University of Johannesburg, Orapeleng Matsediso. Orapeleng, good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to the show. And we certainly appreciate you taking time out this afternoon with us right here on Salam Media.
Yeah, no, good afternoon. I take this opportune moment to greet everybody out there, your listeners. And of course, I wish the Muslim community in the entire world Ramadan, a successful Ramadan in their, of course, process of fasting and, of course, remembering their, of course, God.
Well, it's not only about remembering God, but it's also remembering all, those that are downtrodden, those that are suffering, those that are going through a lot of deep and pain. And as we experience, to an extent, a bit of hunger during the month of Ramadan by fasting, let us also remember those that have no food. Those Sudan, for example, that has been so much in the news of late, the starvation, the mass displacement of people. And at this point in time, it is a country that is going through so much. So we remember the people of Sudan like we do. We remember the people of Palestine and everywhere else across the entire world where there is a lot of suffering and pain.
Yeah, no, that's very great. That's very great to remember those. You make me to remember that, of course, as I was doing a research around 2023, I discovered that more than 60% of the South Sudanese are still, of course, approaching the bushes and the streets to sort themselves out. You know what I mean? If there are no water and sanitation, that, of course, should bring dignity of our people. And I'm happy that you also mentioned that you also remember them in this month of Ramadan.
Yes. Now, let's just obviously look at Sudan at this point in time. We know that there was somewhat of a fragile peace deal, but effectively, we've learned this is actually collapsed. And that ended quite a while back, and we know what the civil war has done in the past few years ago as well. But the key issue here at this point in time is we don't know, like the case of Palestine as well. One day after the other changes. We've seen what had happened with the ceasefire deal in Gaza as well, not knowing what will happen the next day. Now we have a situation in Sudan where we have now the vice president obviously under house arrest. And I'm not too sure whether it came as a surprise to you, but again, it obviously has sparked a renewed crisis, and again, threatening to shatter this fragile peace deal.
Yeah, no, to me, thank you very much. To me, this house arrest of the first vice president of South Sudan, uh, President Riek Machar, is not a surprise to me because the implementation of the the 2018 revitalized peace agreement has been very slow, particularly with regard to the disarmament and integration of some of the militia, or so to say military groups that qualify to be integrated into the National Defense Force. Because remember, this has not been done because of the mistrust between the president and the first vice president of consolidation of their power. Now, the delay was on the basis that the military mobilization in South Sudan is made not only no, it's made not on the defense of the citizen, but the defense of the political elites. That is why Riek Machar was always doubtful of allowing his militia to be integrated into the National Defense Force, because you would remember that normally what happens is that a president of a particular country becomes a commander-in-chief of the military. Now, if they are to surrender their military integration under the National Defense Force, they fear that, of course, the president Salva Kiir will use that to attack them as the opposition, or Sudanese People's Liberation movement in opposition, and of course the one that is led by Salva Kiir, who's the president. It's Sudanese People's Liberation Movement in government. So that mistrust has always been there. But let me just take you to make you to understand. I have even said this in my research that in South Sudan, even post the signing of the revitalized peace agreement of 2018, there has never been a significant move in terms of implementation. There's always been delays, and these delays has been caused by the fact that these two leaders have always been mistrusting each other from the beginning of the secession of this particular country from the north. And that on its own has always created a situation whereby mobilization of the society towards what one can say is supposed to be peace building and nation building has always been ethnic mobilization, as opposed to citizen mobilization to build a newly formed state.
Yes. Now, obviously, I think from what you are saying, is of major concern. But also at the same time, looking at the reaction, and we've seen now a lot of interest. There's been a lot of reaction to what has taken place, the house arrest in particular. We've even seen the United Nations. We've seen countries like Zimbabwe, Kenya, South Africa has also issued a statement as well. Just how dangerous ground are we actually treading on with this house arrest, and what could some of the likely consequences be?
I said it in my research that South Sudan, because of there's not been positive peace building in South Sudan. Positive building, it means there is absence of violent, in some part, absence of violent conflict, but the environment is still volatile to can lead to civil war. It is what is happening in South Sudan. It's only what we call in certain parts, what we call negative peace, the absence of violent conflict in certain areas. But the fact that there's never been a complete disarmament and the integration of militias militia that are existing there, the country is likely, because of the arrest of Deputy President Riek Machar, it is possible that this country can go back to civil war that is even severe than the two civil wars that took place since 2011 in that particular country, if, of course, this volatile or tension is not going to be properly managed. I think we must applaud leaders of our continent and, of course, countries that have, of course, issued statements, but there's a need for an immediate engagement to avert the possible third civil war that I foresee in this particular country if this particular situation is not managed properly. Because the mediation in South Sudan, like I always argue, it has not been made people to people or from the grassroots level. It has always been about the political elites. And now, as a result of that, on the ground where people are, where the fight is happening, a less effort has been made in terms of trying to resolve conflict at that level. And now I can tell you these ethnic groups, particularly the Dinka and the Nue, of course, then the ones that are dominant in the government as a result, of course, of these particular two leaders, the deputy president, the vice president, Riek Machar being the Nue and the Dinka being the president. This has not been able to happen. And you would remember that we still have displaced and refugees who left the country. They have not completely came back to the country, and we are still now experiencing some leaving the country. And that on its own is very dangerous because it poses even a threat to the upcoming general elections that's supposed to take place that have been postponed several times.
Yes, Orapeleng, what we'll do is we're going to put you on hold. We're going to go for a quick ad break. We'll be back.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion this Ramadan.
Imagine a world where every child feels loved, secure, and cared for. At Beit Halima Saadia Orphanage, we are not just providing a roof over their heads, we're giving orphan children a chance for a brighter future. For just 1,500 rands a month or 18,000 rands a year, you can sponsor an orphan and transform their life. Your contribution covers essentials like food, clothing, tuition, therapy, and more, ensuring they grow in a nurturing, supportive environment. Any donation is accepted as well as daily scheduled donations. EFT directly into our account. Beit Halima Saadia Orphanage, First National Bank, account number 6313-1080-078, branch code 250737, section 18A registered. Take this step today. Contact Sister Nazarene at 083-653-5669 or email info@bhscycc.co.za.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and free zakat calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031-208-9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Our brothers and sisters in Palestine are enduring unimaginable hardships. Ashraful Aid teams are on the ground, delivering crucial aid to those in need. But we can't do it alone. Palestine is suffering and they need your help. Your support can make a world of difference. Visit www.ashrafulaid.org today and donate to bring hope, relief, and healing to those who are in need.
This Ramadan, make a conscious choice, sip for change, and support Palestine Drinks Africa. With every can, you help end the genocide and stand in solidarity with Palestine. Choose between our original or sugar-free options, available in a case of 24. Every sip is a step towards justice. Every purchase, a powerful message of unity and support for the Palestinian cause. Contact 082-888-1440 or 082-7739-556 today and be part of the change. Palestine Drinks Africa. Sip for change. Liberty for everyone. You are listening to Salam Media live from our headquarters in South Africa. This is Salam Media, keeping you company this Ramadan.
Well, we continue with our broadcast this afternoon right here on Tula Media, and we continue talking with Orapeleng Matsediso, Research Associate at the Institute for Pan-African Thought in Conversation at the University of Johannesburg. As we talk about Sudan, South Sudan, we're talking about Vice President Riek Machar and his detention and house arrest obviously has created a lot of conversation, but also, again, a lot of risk associated with this detention. And we know how fragile the situation is in Sudan at this point in time. And this is the reason why we have been providing a fair amount of coverage, I must say, even throughout the month of Ramadan, because if there are two areas, one in Africa, which is Sudan, the other focus has been on Palestine. Orapeleng, just to continue and looking at obviously, we spoke about the risks that are associated with what has actually happened at this point in time. We spoke briefly about the reaction and also the international reaction. Just, in your opinion, what could resolve the situation as it stands right now?
Now, what I think should happen is that African Union has to take a lead with respect to what is happening in South Sudan. Particularly, I think the newly elected chairperson of the commission to really visit this particular issue of South Sudan. And in my opinion, what needs to happen in South Sudan, the Western approach to peace building has been implemented ever since secession or since the first civil war in South Sudan, and until to date it has not yielded the required result. I think now the leadership in mediation should now reconsider the integration of the indigenous method of conflict resolution, because research proves that, of course, prior to even colonization and the arrival of these Western mediators, the South Sudanese traditional leaders had always been able to resolve their conflict through their customary courts and governance existed prior to all this modern governance. So I think what they should do, like what happened in Rwanda in the post-genocide, the integration of the traditional justice system with the modern system, in order to make sure that obviously the people, when they see that their model of governance is integrated with the modern governance, they can then resonate with the institution built and see themselves that this institution is the macrocosm of our society. Unlike when the institution, of course, is built far away from them, it does not carry their value system. They do not see that they do not have confidence in such kind of systems or institutions. So they see those institutions as the colonial institution rather than institutions that are meant to resolve their conflict. I will make practical example. In South Sudan, you've got two tier of justice system. One to say, you've got a court, of course, that is administered by the government, and you've got the court that is administered by traditional institution where chiefs plays critical role. And that on its own, there's this juncture between the two. So there is a need for that to come together to build one single justice system. And secondly, the speedy integration and disarmament of the militia, so that peace processes and implementation should take place without threat. Unlike what the Western approach is, that they want the issues of arrest of the perpetrators of the previous civil war before negotiations. I do not say they should just go free without, of course, accounting for that. But I'm saying there must be strategy and tactics in implementation of such to make sure that you do not try to create a problem by resolving another problem. Let's national dialogue ensue first and foremost before those that, of course, are perpetrators are taken to book. And second to that, there must be immediate review and adoption of the new constitution, because the current constitution, called the transitional constitution of 2011, gives the president lots of powers to can veto certain decisions. The last point that I want to make is that I think President Salva Kiir must be a leader and go there and address those who have put the Vice President Riek Machar into the house arrest, and address them like a leader to show them the importance, because that house arrest is not just arrest of an ordinary person, is an arrest of a person who's got the support of his ethnic group, the Nuer, in various parts of that particular country. So to arrest the situation and avert civil war, the first point is that President Salva Kiir should go and address those particular masses that are there, and the special security officials who are there to say, please, let's arrest the situation. Rather, let's go to the table, because this poses a serious threat to the implementation of the revitalized agreement revitalized peace agreement in that particular country, which should actually make sure that there is restoration of durable peace in the country.
Well, Orapeleng, thank you very much for that, and also for your time with us this afternoon. We do appreciate you taking time out for us right here at Salam Media this afternoon. We wish you all the best, and more importantly, we continue praying for peace in Sudan, and the sooner the better. And as we mentioned right up front, this is a country we know that has got so much potential, but unfortunately, that potential, due to all the problems, has not been given its full potential to be unleashed for the benefit of not only the Sudanese people, but also it's got a potential to benefit the whole of Africa and the African continent as well. But all the best to you, sir. Please take care, and we hope to connect at some point in time again.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share the ideas.
Orapeleng, Matsediso was us this afternoon, and know that we're going for a break. We come back. It's Voices from Palestine, our segment with PSA.